Troy,
Hey, bud.
you were at the conference for a little bit there.
Yeah.
You left early to come here. Thank you.
Yes, I love going to those things too. It's got such great energy anyway, and I think Sony puts on a great show every year. So it was, not knowing a lot of what they were going to show, so I was kind of sitting just like anybody else, like a normal pedestrian, going, what am I going to see? So it was kind of great to see some new exclusives.
Yeah.
So it was,
What was your favorite thing?
I don't know, man. I was super excited to see what you guys were talking about, Batman. I thought what they did with Batman was great.
What game you're in?
Yeah. There's that.
Anyway, I'm just going to point them out. As they pop up, I'm just going to let you know
Just
which ones I know you're
What
in.
about this? The Entwined. I thought that was a great game. I love the fact that PlayStation is really good about really promoting small and indie developers.
Yeah.
I think it's something that instantly I was thinking about, as far as systemically, that's going to be like a really challenging game that has the conceit that's based in the narrative. So I thought that was really cool. The way they started off, of course, was fantastic. To lead off with Destiny, which I think is going to be probably one of the biggest games ever made. Because it's just everything. It's everything. Sure. It's an MMO. It's an RPG. It's
and they got Dinklage.
Yeah.
Peter
and apparently
Dinklage
that was already known, but that was news to me.
Yeah.
Oh, Peter Dinklage?
Yeah. Voice in the trailer.
Taking money from our friend Troy Baker. He could have been that voice.
I know. Well, I figured that game is so huge.
Far cheaper than Peter Dinklage.
You're wearing Last of Us shirt there.
I'm representing.
Yeah.
I was, I'm so the remaster thing is going to be great, and I heard you guys talking about it. I got to see just a little bit of it, and you guys saw there, of course, for what they showed at the conference, and it looks so good, and it looks so great. I mean, you remember that we were at the end of this console generation, and the PS3 we're just squeezing every little bit of juice out of it, and to actually see that fully realized 1080p, 60 frames, it's unbelievably gorgeous, unbelievably gorgeous. And I love the fact that they're going to have everything in there too. So you get the Left Behind DLC in there as well.
So we were talking about it. Like, how do you feel? I mean, you pour so much into your performance. We've talked your ear off. There's a whole panel up on IGN from MomoCon.
From MomoCon,
about
it was fun
everything
time.
you've done. Do you get like, oh, why'd you put that scene in there? Like, oh, what?
Well, you got to lead up first of all the fact that they said this thing contains spoilers.
Right.
So this is definitely for people, and I love the fact that it's coming out a year afterwards. So there's a lot of stuff that most of the people that I've talked to have done multiple playthroughs because it's just there's so much stuff. And one thing that I love about The Last of Us is not only that it's got a great story, but there was so much that was told just through the environment. There, the whole, if you haven't solved the saga of Ish by looking through all the letters, that's something you want to go back and see. And it's such a beautiful world that they created to have it, represented in full, high res is incredible. But the spoiler thing didn't bother me for this because this was obviously, it's going to go out to the general public.
Base,
But yeah, you're speaking to the base. These are the people who are going to see it. And there's a lot of people, I mean, I still get tweeted all the time, people saying, oh my God, I'm just about to play The Last of Us. So I think there's a lot of people out there. And like you said, these things are kind of taken out of context, so you wouldn't necessarily know what that scene meant.
Yeah.
All you know is that the very first thing you see is this incredibly gripping emotional scene. So it's like, now you're in.
Everybody seemed to be really impressed with No Man's Sky.
Yeah, that looked awesome.
Yeah, it looks awesome in this, and it seems like, some people might have expected that was going to be an Xbox game, considering, I guess Hello Games' relationship recently with Microsoft. So there's a lot of mystique surrounding that game, I think, and I think it's pretty cool.
I just think it looks like it started and it was like, oh, I'm getting my TIE fighter off Dagobah here and get on past these old dinosaurs.
It seems very ambitious. I hope those guys haven't bitten off more than they can chew. These are the guys that made Joe Danger.
Yeah.
It's a really small team, and they're creating this giant, ambitious game. Where
it's procedurally generated, so everything's different. Yeah,
Every player starts on a new planet.
Yeah.
It sounds awesome.
Yeah, it sounds really cool. I'm really looking forward to that one.
I'm down. I'm totally down. Here's the problem I had, though. Other than the middle, right? The middle that got really slow. We talked about this on Beyond, Colin, right? Like, somebody wrote in saying, is this the E3 where they admit defeat on the Vita? And it really felt like it was. Yeah. I wasn't expecting it. You and I were talking about, they'll come out and they'll have, they'll have Infamous, or they'll have God of War, and another party will be doing it, but that did not happen.
Yeah.
Vita got one brief mention, right?
Yeah, I was a little surprised by that. And
that was bewildering.
Yeah, it kind of sucks in a way. I mean, we really like our Vitas, and we need some new IP. I mean, they said, like, there's over 100 games in development. Who knows the nature of those games? Probably mostly indie games. Third party has said that, third party relations guys at Sony have said that they're working with people to bring new big games like Borderlands 2 over, but it was disappointing that they didn't spend more time with it.
Yeah.
I was also really mystified, just very few mentions of PlayStation 3. just in the sense that that's still a vibrant console with a lot of games on it. And you would think that they would drop the price or at least talk about it a little bit more outside of the PlayStation Now functionality. But it seems like they're going full in with PlayStation 4, which I guess makes sense for them. Since
Sure,
they have
100%.
Well, and I'll say this too. I mean, obviously, last year there was an introduction to the consoles. We were finally here. This needed to have the focus on the PS4. That is the new hardware, and there's so much that they have been developing for. But also, I respect the fact that there was a lot of disappointment surrounding this because so many games slipped into next year.
Yeah.
So for them, I can only speculate, but I definitely think that what we're seeing within developers, especially for first-party developers, is that there's a big focus on getting the core game out. And the Vita opens up a lot of opportunities for maybe some DLC or some integration into that. But what they're trying to do right now is just no longer we want this to have just be a pretty picture, and it's not just about our games being in 1080p, but that they're really tapping into the potential of the architecture for emergent gameplay. So you can always expand on that, but I like the fact that they didn't have more empty promises because maybe some developers couldn't develop for the Vita right now.
Yeah, sure. That's true. That's a good point.
How'd that game, Abzu, I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, how did that strike you? The one that's underwater?
swimming.
The
Yeah.
Fish, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah?
That's totally
You don't have enough.
That's like a ho-hokum, where you watch it and you're like, okay, cool. I gotta try that out to see what the hell's going on.
Yeah, it's a very, that struck me as like a very that game company style, obviously, game.
Yeah.
Games that you typically only find in the console space on PlayStation, like those very just weird games, that like you have to play and to understand, that you have to kind of immerse yourself. It would be hard to take a game like Flower and show it to someone without them playing it. I feel like this is a similar sort of game, It looks cool. We'll wait and see more.
All right, so now it's time to talk about the big one that got buried way back there, Infamous Second Son. Now, I always said the problem with Infamous Second Son was its terrible main character, horribly voiced and acted. So now, the DLC First Light, we get to play as Fetch. You saw it running around there.
The first time that we showed anything for Infamous, of course.
Oh, right, that was you. I'm sorry.
You were that
briefly
guy. Briefly in it. A lot of stunt work. The first time that we showed anything for Second Son was the Fetch mission, when you first actually get to meet them. They got to hint, of course, to they knew we were going to start off with smoke powers, but we wanted to show that there was not just one, but there were several. And so many people from the press, even when we did closed door stuff, responded so well to Fetch.
Right.
And it's largely, it's a team that creates that character, but Laura Bailey does such an incredible job as that character, really bringing it to life. And one thing that the story does so well is it shows you Delson, it shows you Reggie, his brother, but there's so many other people that you come in contact with, and there's a lot of story that you can tell in that.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that they're revisiting this, but not just rehashing something and offering some map packs or anything, but they're actually going in to Abigail Walker, Fetch, who's played by Laura Bailey, and to her story. I wish that they had showcased a little bit more. I think the trailer is beautiful. I love that look from Laura, and you get to see something that is one of the most fun ways to see the entire city, which is the traversal through the neon powers.
Right.
But this is a really cool, completely self-contained thing. I love the fact that it could be an intro to the series. It's completely standalone. You don't have to own the game to play it, but I guarantee you, once you get into it, you're going to want to know more about the story. But yeah, it's incredible. It's out this fall, I think, is when we're talking about.
There's
actual hard
August,
skate
I think it said.
August, yeah.
Close enough.
Late summer.
You going to play that, Colin?
Absolutely. I'm always fascinated by well, I'm a big Infamous.
Nothing, even though you do. I just think it's a great game.
I'm a big Infamous fan, and I'm always fascinated by Sucker Punch's propensity now with the second DLC when compared to Infamous 2's DLC, that they make standalone DLC that you can play without the game. That's what they did with Infamous 2, and I think it's a really nice idea because, like Troy was saying, this gets you in at maybe a cheaper price point. Then you go back and play the game and buy the game and enjoy it. So it actually makes a lot of business sense probably for them too.
I mean, if you want to save a few bucks, of course, you could not pick it up, and then when PS5 comes out, you'll get Infamous Second Son Deluxe Edition, all the DLC remastered.
How about that Far Cry 4 demo?
Yeah,
very cool. I mean, that game looks great.
Speaking of that Far Cry 4,
Yes.
I noticed in the Ubisoft they led with the bad guy talking, and he sounded familiar as well.
What's really funny is I, for no reason whatsoever, was instantly emailing and texting people going, I have a question. So yeah, they officially said I can confirm I'm playing Pagan Men in Far Cry 4, and there's a lot of stuff in this that while we're making the game, they're making the game, right? So they're still writing stuff. So there's a lot of stuff that I get to see that surprises. Some things I knew about. One of the biggest things, of course, was if you were looking at the big screens that were up on either side, it showed you in the middle screen what actual gameplay was happening, and on the left-hand side it said AJ Gale, player 1, and that entire right side was blank. And I looked over at Travis, and I said, I have a feeling I know what they're going to do. And of course, they saw that if you are playing with a friend, you can actually bring him in, and it's real-time online co-op campaign, which was a mind blow for me. I think it's incredible, especially in a world like this, to be able to have a friend jump in and play with you is phenomenal.
And the fact that your friend doesn't need to own the game.
That blew my mind.
That's crazy.
I'm still, and they didn't really even go into more detail about it. That was just like through what? Through magic. Anyway,
don't worry about it. Through power of Gaikai.
It's very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, that was cool, and it looks like everything we wanted, right? I mean, that was our big thing during the Ubisoft thing, right? Of like, oh, it was a cool trailer, would love to see more gameplay, blah, blah, and then you see this, and elephants are helping you blow stuff up, and you're on
that was
helicopters.
Incredible. Only thing, I would have stood up and rage quit even before the game came out if the elephant had died, and because I'm a softie, man. I love my elephants, and the elephant left out that huge bellow at the end. I was like, yeah.
I like how you would have had a problem with that, like Far Cry. You gotta skin 1 million sharks to get the best stuff. Just killing animals.
What did you do to Tiger? I draw the line at elephants. Yeah, no elephants.
Did you like the Dead Island 2 trailer?
Yes.
Trailer was awesome.
I was laughing throughout it. Now, clearly, it's a far cry from what the first Dead Island 1 trailer was, and I appreciated that because it was more in keeping with the actual series. Sure. But I was laughing my ass off throughout the entire thing. It was brilliantly done. I love the jogger. Yeah. And everything happening off camera, everything behind him. I thought it was fantastic. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought it was brilliant. I mean, like I tweeted out, my thought was this is a great trailer, but also kind of getting a little tired of the zombie thing, like just the generic zombie thing.
You've been tired of it forever, though.
I need a little more cleverness in the zombie.
You never cared. There was never a zombie game where you're like, yeah.
Well, I think the last one is a clever zombie game.
No, they're not zombies.
I mean, they're not, but that's a zombie style.
Hey, I'm just giving you the Sony and Naughty Dog line. Right? Don't get in my face about it.
Vision statement. I think this is a great game for people. Clearly, Walking Dead is has huge numbers every week. Zombie games are still such a huge part of the industry. People still want to play zombies. It's fun to kill zombies. I think this was a great little nod and say, here you go. You want something that's completely gratuitous, completely over the top, and campy. Dead Island.
I mean, I'm a huge proponent of Dead Island. Even though the games are always screwed up, I can't platinum it because there was a glitch at the end of Dead Island.
I remember you losing your mind about that.
Mad. Oh my god, I was so furious. But that was Riptide, and so like. The thing is, Damon, we've seen Dying Light a few times at PAX, and that's the other Techland game, right?
Yes.
That's the guys who do.
They love zombies.
They do, yeah. And that one runs so well on the PlayStation 4 hardware that I hope this gets around some of those problems. Probably won't, but again, like, I'll invite Mike Mitchell back over and move a second TV into the living room again, and we will just sit there and play it, because I love the RPG in the zombie world.
Yeah. There's going to be a 30-day PS4 beta for that one.
RPG. Yeah. I thought you were talking about the...
No, that is also fun.
We could also have that. We could also certainly have that.
Yeah, we can make that happen.
You're excited for Diablo 3?
I am. I'm a big Diablo 3. I enjoy it on PC, but this didn't work for me. I'm not a big mouse and keyboard. What didn't work for? The mouse and keyboardness. Because remember, I used to play PC games at our coffee table. Yeah. So I'd be lying on the ground like this, doing this.
PC Master Race.
And so
don't fall, please don't.
I'm not going to fall. I'm fine. Everybody's fine.
Well, and speaking of zombies.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. Last
3.
of Us monsters in Diablo 3.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Getting the bloater.
It's awesome. I think Diablo 3 is great. I'm really excited for Diablo PS4. I'm already playing on PS3 because I bring my character over to PS4 now, with the addition that these guys are going to be in. Because it's a giant thing.
Yeah.
This isn't Diablo 3 PS3. This is Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls Ultimate Evil Edition, which is the one that comes to all the different things. That was a mouthful, and I need a break, and so do you, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go to one right now. We'll be right back with more of the IGN Show.
Welcome to NBA Most Valuable Player, Kevin Durant.
We're all a work in
progress as men.
So many people
Doubted me.
I failed
so many times.
and got back up. We wasn't supposed to be here.
But we are here.
But we are here.
But we are here.
But we are here. Product not yet rated.
PlayStation.
What's up, everybody? I promised you we'd be back with more talk of these video games from the PlayStation. I'm offended, Damon. You haven't brought up LittleBigPlanet 3 yet.
I meant no offense. We just didn't get to it yet.
I meant no offense. Yeah, well, you should tell it to the fish. I don't know. Colin,
Yes.
Did this change your mind about Little Big Planet?
No, I mean,
What? Are you not a fan?
No, I'm not.
He has no joy. That's why he doesn't like zombies or Sackboy.
Yeah, I don't like zombies. I have no joy.
How can you look at the little boo boo?
Oh, I love Sackboy very much. I just feel like the floatiness of the controls always turned me off personally, and I'm not much of a UGC guy, which is a Little Big Planet's big thing. So I'm not too much into it, but this actually, to me, I don't know if you guys agree, seemed a little more complicated than normal. Like if you're cooperating with all these
I appreciate that though too.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing that I wanted them to go into a little bit more. Obviously, this is going to be more of a socially based game, as opposed to just like these are AI characters that you control. But I love the fact that it's clearly the third iteration. This is something that could get a little bit old, and they're completely reinventing. And in a lot of ways, they're building up on top of the success of the game that they've had.
The thing I talked about on Twitter, right, is that I assume there had to have been a delay between what they were playing on their screen and what they were seeing. Because you'll notice they're screwing up easy jumps here. They're doing as a Little Big Planet aficionado. No, you don't appreciate it at this point. Come on, man. Because like I feel for them. You like when they. This is Sarah, who's like a lovely lady who runs social media for XDev, playing, and like she's not incompetent at games. You know what I mean? And like later on, they have a whole other problem where people keep dying, and it's like. Like you're talking about, even with floaty controls or with Mega Man, you need to know where you're landing and what you're doing and when to hit the X button. I felt bad for it.
I will say this, just being there and actually hearing the crowd response to it, it was great because a lot of times these on-stage demos, they're incredibly scripted. Yeah. And it can feel a little flat and people are just watching this. There were people, everyone was cheering for them.
Right.
It was hilarious. It brought a level of levity to it. Everybody was, I mean, as soon as this came on right after the Fetch DLC announcement was there.
But see, like, I mean, like, this little stuff there, like, I guess it's for me, I always have to fight this fight in my own home about Little Big Planet being floaty or you can't jump between planes. And I've always found it to be pretty easy, but here, like, they're screwing those things up, and I'm sure Gaff is having a field day with, like, oh, well, this is happening, that's happening, blah, blah.
Yeah, it's
but here's Swoop, so there you go.
But the new characters are cool. They're funny. They're cute. This isn't a Media Molecule game. Sumo's doing this one. Sumo Digital.
Were you surprised we didn't see Media Molecule?
No, I'm not surprised by that at all. I mean, they said that they weren't going to be here. I took them at their, out of all the first-party studios, Media Molecule and Guerrilla said that they were not going to be at E3, so that eliminated a bunch of stuff. They'll be, I'm sure at least one of them will be at Gamescom.
Okay. Gamescom, yes.
We have a Twitter question, I think, ready to go about a game we were hoping maybe we would see.
Uh-oh.
We're going to plug this up.
There it is.
Gil Golan, are you guys disappointed? We didn't get to see Fallout 4.
Now that you bring it up, yes. But again, I had forgotten about it. There was so many good games. Fallout was like my total, like, if they wanted to come in and be like, like we own everything.
It's getting late. I mean, I didn't expect Fallout was going to be here. That seems like a game. That seems like a game Bethesda would announce themselves. And probably not ready to go.
100%.
Yeah, for sure.
But I want it so bad.
Colin, what did you think of what we saw of the Order today?
It was cool. I was a little confused about what is the nature of this game. I mean, we know that you're fighting humans and these kind of supernatural enemies, and the Order is kind of transcends the generations and the centuries to fight these supernatural creatures or whatever. It seemed a little darker and more dire and a little more zombie-like in this particular footage than when I saw the game back in January and February. Actually, probably the last time I saw Troy when we were. I was also seeing Infamous, and I didn't. It looks beautiful, and I just don't know what exactly the game is, like what you're going to be playing for this 10, 15, 20 hours, however long it is. Like what we saw when they were fighting outside in that more Gears of War scenario that's been going around the internet for months now. Yeah. It's just a little different. So that might actually be a good thing for some people. It could be. It gives you a little diversity.
For me, this reminded me of the break, similar to how I always talk about in Uncharted 2, when you're running from that, the truck barreling behind you, shooting behind you. It's like, that's not the whole game, it's just a sequence. And here I think they're showing you, like, there's this werewolf character, right, that you can't take down through your traditional BS out there with your crates and your guns.
Well, one thing I think you're kind of glossing over a little bit, though, is obviously this is, for the first time from the studio they come out with this game. It's a first, game to come out on PS4, so they're really showing off the graphics and how beautiful it looks. But the one thing that I loved about it was that it was really tapping into the potential of the hardware by showing how fluid the gameplay to the cinematics were. And like you're talking about that scene where he's running backwards and doing that, there were seamless cuts, and it was clear when player had control again, because of course the HUD would come, or not the HUD, but the little crosshairs would come up to show you. And I think that they're maybe not trying to show their hand too much narratively. They're giving you a hint of what the tone of the game is. They've released some of the story elements, but they're really playing everything close to the vest, which I kind of respect too. I think this game is going to be incredible. I'm glad that they slipped, because I don't want it to come out too early. I don't want it to be rushed because it could teeter on being kind of mediocre if they don't really do it all the way. So I applaud their efforts.
Yeah, I agree with that. And by the way, I just like how we saw him sip the black water, that elixir, just when he's all injured and stuff too. Yeah, and goes into that really.
Clearly, is that like a health, like a mana kind of thing?
Apparently, like the order uses this black water to live really long periods of time and helps him heal quickly. So it ties that in a little bit, kind of nicely too. I'm excited about this game, and I agree with Troy. Like, I'm glad that they.
Yeah, this is a really cool demo. I'm excited about it.
We only have a couple minutes left. What are our closing thoughts on day 0, E3 2014?
I had fun.
Yeah, that's your thoughts?
It was a great day. I mean, I thought
we've been live streaming for almost 12 hours.
Yeah, that happens sometimes here at IGN. I thought it was a great day. I don't think there was anybody I looked back and I was like, oh, what a terrible conference. Everybody had a great conference. You know what I mean? I don't know if there was a winner. I guess Microsoft won. If we're driving at that, right?
Yeah, the way I would see it is that if you took out the entertainment portion of Sony, then they're equal.
Right. No, I agree with that too. And that's the whole thing. We're talking about two great things.
Yeah.
It's not like one was bad or like, ugh. But I had fun at Ubisoft and it was the same thing. And that's what I think I was talking about earlier, right? That like for Ubisoft, even when they went and do a demo I didn't care about or something, they got out of it quick. They had a funny little joke about it and they were on their way. You know what I mean? Whereas like Sony got their wheels stuck for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then Microsoft just came out and had game. And then EA talked about Bruce Lee.
Yeah, they should have. And then they're like...
Live.
What do you think, Colin?
I think the first parties performed really well today.
Yeah.
I gotta meditate on it a little bit more, think about it a little bit more, marinate as it were. But
no meditate.
But yeah, I think both first parties had a really good showing. I was impressed by Microsoft. I was impressed by a lot of what Sony was doing too. Like you said, if you clip out that Wonder Book moment for them, which was the powers thing, and some of the entertainment talk, and some of the new CEOs talk about PlayStation Now and stuff. If you remove that, there's a lot of great games, at the beginning and the end. I mean, we saw Uncharted 4, and that's like, I'm just so excited about that.
Oh my! I think looking at last year and how much of how many mic drop moments there were last year, it's easy to look at this conference and see just across the board. There's like, it was kind of people did some booms and there's some lights and some smoke and everything. But I think again, we're starting to see that people are really they have their hands around the new hardware. They understand where gamers are at, which has really changed. That narrative and gameplay have to be seamlessly integrated, and they're making games that are for that. I think Sony. Everybody showed really, really well, especially the first-party developers as well. I'm excited to see what's coming out. I'm happy that some of the games are pushing. I'm glad that they're bringing some of these old catalog games that we forgot about or that we wanted to see represented. I think that's a great push by Sony to do that. Grim Fandango, I mean, that's incredible.
We even talk about that. That was awesome.
There's too much
There's not enough time.
There's not enough
In 12 hours of live streaming, there's not enough time to talk about it all.
The good thing is, we're going to be live streaming the entire rest of the week.
Hooray!
Actually, let's bring up the schedule for the rest of
We're not going
tomorrow. We're live again tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific with a Nintendo pre-show. Nintendo's digital event starts at 9 a.m. and then we have a post-show immediately following. And then the IGN live show floor demos begin.
Very excited.
We'll be hosting those. We'll be all over the place, doing all sorts of cool stuff. You just got to keep coming back to IGN.
Yeah. Just plan to just stay with IGN the rest of the week. Call in for food and water if you need deliveries. Yeah,
call in.
Yeah,
Call
Troy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, always. I'm glad to hang out with you guys.
Colin?
And the pink shirt.
Yeah.
Thank you. I look good in it. Let's not
Look
lie.
great in the pink shirt.
Good. I didn't want to ban you from this show, too.
Colin, thank you for sitting in with us.
Thank you, Dave, for having me.
Greg, you ready to do this again tomorrow?
I can't wait.
8:30 a.m. Pacific. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today.